Be the first major OPEC Plus cut since 2020 when oil prices went negative. And this is obviously something that the Biden administration would be, very concerned about. The question is, how large is the cut going to be? We're hearing numbers like 2 million barrels a day production cut. Who will make the cut? A number of OPEC countries are underperforming. So the question is, are the countries that are the major producers going to do the bulk of the heavy lifting on this production cut?
Halima, the big question in this is, look, OPEC exists for a reason. It's to try and manipulate prices of oil, keep prices higher. What do they think is a fair price at this point? We used to think $40 to $60 was okay, or $60 to $70. If they're not happy at 87, what's their expectation of where oil prices should be?
I mean, OPEC producers always say they are not targeting price. I think there are multiple reasons why a production cut is likely coming. I mean, we had Prince Abdulaziz, the Saudi oil minister, several weeks ago express real concern about what he believed was a disconnect between the financial and physical markets. So is this a sort of circuit breaker that the Saudis are throwing into the market, saying, you're more concerned about Jay Powell, we're going to show you that we are a regulator in this market? Russia, though, is a clear factor to watch. And the deputy prime minister of Russia will be arriving at OPEC soon. He is under U.S. sanction, and the Russians have every incentive to want to push prices higher. They also have every incentive to try to scuttle the European Union's plans to impose sanctions and a price cap on Russian oil come December 5.
And that's why this potential meeting is so much more important, that there's so much more riding on that. This is not just about prices. This is not just about the market. This is about global stability from a defensive perspective, from a security perspective. Do they not understand that, or do they not care?
I mean, Becky, this is far more than about oil. Now, Russia is at the head of the OPEC Plus table. There are no indications that Russia will be vacating that seat. But to have the Russian deputy prime minister in Vienna at this moment, obviously, this is not just an oil story. This is a geopolitical story. This is a security story. And we're going to be watching very closely to.
I love that we just finished the fucking what is OPEC story. Okay, for those of you who still don't understand what OPEC is or what OPEC Plus is. And this motherfucker goes, what is OPEC? Bro, just go back in the fucking, please, just go back in the VOD or something, dude. I don't know. Just Google it.
What he says in this press conference today.
We've heard the White House.
People sometimes just expect me to spoon feed information over and over again. It's like, I'm not Google, man. We already covered it.
They have been making calls, trying to get around.
Y'all are failing, okay? You're failing.
I mean, obviously, this is not something that the White House wants. They do not want an OPEC Plus production cut. Remember, President Biden visited Saudi Arabia in July. And so I think they were trying to potentially scale back.
One cool thing that you do have to recognize about OPEC and OPEC Plus nations is that some of these countries within OPEC and OPEC Plus, and I would even include Russia in this, but of course Saudi Aramco being one, are beholden to state actors. Unlike the United States of America, which is beholden to corporate benefactors. So the exact opposite dynamic exists in the United States of America. The United States government is beholden to corporate profit motives, whereas the Saudi oil producers are beholden to the Saudi government, the kingdom. So whatever they say goes. Same with even Russia, where if the state decides we are going to change our oil production and our output, then the companies have to follow along. In the United States of America, if the United States of the American government decides, yeah, we got to do something about these oil prices, our corporations will say, fuck off, Jack. So dictators are better? Unironically, yes. I am actually saying that. If you consider state-owned and operated extraction industries to be dictatorships, then yes, the Norwegian dictatorship trumps the American corporate oligopoly. Yeah, the dictatorship of Norway is fundamentally a better way to operate than the American oligarchy. Notice how I didn't say the Saudi dictatorship and I said the Norwegian dictatorship, because Norway also is a country that has Norway is a Western nation. It also has oil, and it has also nationalized its extraction industries all the way from oil down to forestry, because you only have the opportunity to comprehend fucking dictatorship, bad, wrong, any sort of control over corporations is bad, dictatorship, wrong. But you don't feel like that when it's Norway. That's why I use Norway instead of Venezuela or Saudi Arabia. I love you, Hasan. Thanks. This is how outrageously cuck Biden is. Last year, begging oil companies not to gouge Americans. That wasn't last year. That was this year. Wait, was that last year? I thought that was this year. What the fuck? Time flies, dude. That's crazy that this was last year. Oh my God. I thought that was like last week, man. What the fuck? Dude, what is happening to my brain, brother? You mean Greater Sweden and not Norway, right? I just call it Daneland. I call it what it is, Daneland, which also encompasses broader swaths of the United Kingdom as well. That is right. I will come out and say it. The Danish are Turks, and therefore Danish supremacy. It's Daneland. It's all Daneland. It's always been Danelaw. America was founded by Leif Erikson. The Danes did it first. And therefore, America is also Danish. Us Danes, we will not forget. We will not forgive. We will not forget the betrayal by the Anglo-Saxons, butchering our children, locking them into barns and lighting those barns on fire. Yes, I recently watched Vinland Saga. How can you tell?
Back the size of this cut. But again, all indications are that we are hearing right now, this is going to be...
And The Last Kingdom. And also the new Vikings show on Netflix. That wasn't bad either.
A multi-million barrel a day cut. Potentially 2 million barrels a day is going to be announced this afternoon.
What will that mean for oil prices, for the oil markets?
I mean, Becky, this is really an interesting question because you have a number of OPEC countries that have been underperforming. So the question is this effectively going to be a sort of paper cut, or is this going to be a significant pullback in actual production? So who does the production cuts will matter in terms of what the market impact will be. And even if we have a sort of muted response today because there's already this expectation of production cut, fast forward to December. That's when that European embargo on Russian oil takes effect. The price cap policy is supposed to launch. And so I think what we're setting up for is a potential significant bounce come December. So even if we don't see it today, keep your eyes on year end.
How a 10-year-old boy was forced to join ISIS? What the fuck?